Hello, welcome to this week's How's the Market, Pensacola. Well, is it possible that we have a neutral market price point? Is it possible? Also, what's going on with all the foreclosures? Is there some foreclosures coming on the market that we don't know about? Pay attention. We're going to talk about that this week. I actually just got finished shooting a 35-minute video explaining a lot of the market update stuff. I'll put a link to it below so you guys can go check out the page. But it's something that I addressed a lot of different questions. One, I talked a lot about the mortgage rates. How are mortgage rates being impacted right now? What are the upward pressures that are coming from Wall Street? What are the downward pressures that are coming for, dare I say it, a possible recession? What are all the economists talking about? How is that impacting prices? That was the other thing I talked about. Prices, where I see them going in our area. Are we going to see a downtick? Well, maybe. But is it a time to wait? Go watch that video. Again, I'll put the link below, so go check that out. I also talked about foreclosures. Are we seeing an uptick in those? And what does that mean for the marketplace if we are? And finally, I talked about, is it a good time to buy right now? Or is it not? Should we wait? Some people think that I've always said, because I started this show in April 2019, they think that I always say it's a good time to buy. But if you go look online, I did a podcast out there called 5 Minutes in Real Estate. You can find it on Stitcher or iTunes or Google Play or whatever. 200 episodes. I did 200 episodes of that show. And if you listen to that show, there were times I was telling people it's not a real good time to buy right now. Chill out, just wait. If you're looking, it depends on the situation. I mean, obviously, I've got people right now I'm working with that are paying $600, $700, $800 a week for a rental because the situation, and so they need a place to stay. All right, obviously, that would make it much more sense to buy right now. So can you say it definitively both ways? No. But here, Turkey Week, as we're getting into Thanksgiving week, what does our inventory look like? And do I dare say we have a neutral market? All right, I'm going to try and make this quick because it is a holiday week. So let's get straight to both our counties and check out our inventory levels. Let's go. All right, if you hadn't seen the show, you don't know that I always start with this slide right here. It says if we have between 6 and 7 months worth of inventory, we have what's called a neutral market. Anything greater than 7 months is a buyer's market. Anything less than 6 months is a seller's market. What the slide doesn't say is anything greater than 9 months, hyper buyer's market. Anything less than 3 months, hyper seller's market. We start off with Escambia County, and look, we have got an uptick in inventory, but not to levels yet. Look at here though, luxury, 700,000 we have 5.9 months worth of inventory. So if you remembered, let's go back and look. Neutral market is 6. So if you're selling luxury right now, you need to pay attention. The market's changed. Your marketing needs to change. There are things you need to do different to differentiate yourself. We've got 1,065 properties active right now. Active, not under contract, active in Escambia County. Under 50,000, there's only 2, and it's land, it's just dirt. But you get up here to 500,000, and we're at 3.2. So that's where your threshold passes the hyper sellers and into just a sellers. But look at that, all the way up to 500,000 is still a hyper seller's market. Regardless of the headlines that you see, that inventory has doubled. 100,000 to 150,000 is 2.3 months worth of inventory. A few months ago, that was under a month. So if I wanted to write a nice headline that clickbait, that caught your attention, all I'd have to do is say, you know what? Prices have tripled. Well, if we're at 2.3 and it was what, 0.7 or 0.6 a few months ago, I would not be lying. But then I could infer from that premise, well, prices are going to drop. They're going to fall. The sky's on fire. Falling, whatever. That's not the case. We are still hyper seller's market. Now, does that mean that as a buyer you can't negotiate some things? Sure you can. Let's get 200 to 250,000. 1.3 months worth of inventory and things are still selling around 100% of list. That's only going off of the list price versus the purchase price. That doesn't go off against terms. So I got one right now that I'm under contract. It was the 208 mark, right? This is actually in Santa Rosa County. 208, 210, somewhere around there. And we asked for concessions and the seller was willing to give us. Now we give them the full price, but we asked for concessions. We wanted some of our closing costs paid for. We couldn't have done that at the beginning of this year. The seller would have just went, yeah, I'll wait on somebody to pay me my full price, pay over full price. Remember when we were talking about over appraised value stuff? Waivers? Remember I was talking about that? It wasn't 12 months ago I was talking about that. All right. And I've seen it a ton in 2021, that aberration that was last year and even early this year. Now you're starting to see negotiations happen again. You're starting to see negotiations happen on mortgages. I'll talk about that at the end. All right. How you can actually work through some of that. There's some tricks. There's some tools in my toolbox since I've been doing this since 93. Okay. That's when I started in finance. Real estate and finance, I started in 1993. Almost 30 years. So there's some tools that I haven't had to use in years. Doesn't mean they're not there. Doesn't mean I don't know how to use them. So pay attention to that. All right, we'll go back to this. 500,000 to 550,000 is a seller's market. 550,000 to 600,000, 4.6 months. The 600,000 to 650's got a little bit, it kind of drops back down to 2.3. There's just not many properties for sale there. And everything else is just a seller's. But 5.9, we don't have a neutral market yet. We don't have a neutral market yet, but not in Escambia County. But it's as close as it gets before we start to get into a neutral market. So if you're working with the luxury, pay attention to that. All right, let's jump over to Santa Rosa County, see what happens. Santa Rosa County, less. We got 650 active total. Again, that's an increase in property, all right, but not enough to put downward pressure on the price. So I talked about this in that other video, that explanatory video that I just did. If you have downward pressure or because of demand, let's say demand has dropped off because of the higher interest rates. So that puts pressure for prices to go down. But if your supply has gone down with it or has still not made up the chasm difference that's there, then you're just going to continue to rise. Even though this is putting pressure down, the pressure to go up is higher. Make sense? So everything up to 400,000 in Santa Rosa County is still a hyper seller's market. 400,000 to 500,000 under our definition of under 3 months worth of inventory is just a seller's market. And then you get up to 600,000 when we see 3.7 months. Now, because this is 3.2 months and 3 months here, would I market things differently? No. Do you need to pay attention to how you can purchase and negotiate? Yeah, just because they're not necessarily point something months. But if you look, 100,000 to 150,000, 0.9 months. 200,000 to 250,000, 1 month's inventory. There's literally 23 properties for sale total in Santa Rosa County right now. So there's your numbers for the week. I'm trying to make this a little shorter than I have been lately, but because it's a holiday week. I always end the show talking about our instant offer program, though. Instant offer program is real simple. If you've got a property that needs a lot of work, you want to just get rid of it, give us a call. We can give you an instant offer of what an investor would offer you. I am backed by a conglomerate of investors, so I can come out and give you a pretty good offer fairly quickly, usually 24, 48 hours of me walking through the property, sometimes same day. Walking through the property, talking about figuring out what you need to do. And some people will take my instant offer and use it and try and come on the MLS and see if they can get higher. And if they can, great. And if I'm marketing the thing for you, I've used this and I'm trying to come on higher, I will try and get you higher in the MLS because I know that my clients are long-term, so it doesn't really matter. I've done that before to where I actually wanted a property, had it here, but when we came on the market, we got him an offer that was higher. So we sold it there. He said, I thought for sure you were never going to find me something. You were going to be a little biased in this because you made this offer. No, I'm not that way. I've been doing this a long time and my relationships are more important to me than any one transaction. Now, have I done the opposite where I've given an offer and then we come on the MLS and you've got lower offers? Cool. At least now you know this is the floor, you won't go down. You won't have to go past this floor because we already got that offer. So we'll come on the market for a few weeks and see what happens. The other thing I want you to pay attention to is time on market right now. That's a factor that needs to be paid attention to all the way around. If you do decide to come on the market, if we're not using the instant offer program, and we do decide to come on the market, pay attention to your time on market, because that has been extending quite a bit. It's not astronomical. So we're not sitting here like, in 2010, 2011, there were some certain price points that time on market was 9 months, 12 months, 14 months was the average before it sold. That's a long time. It's not astronomical right now. If you can look at some of these, you see the 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, but the sellers need to understand that you're not normally getting offers day one anymore, not unless you're underpriced, or if we price it really right, slightly under to get the higher buyer's eyes, which I talk about that. There's a whole pyramid that I go over when I'm talking with individual sellers, where you can get the most buyer's eyes. If we do that, then you may get an offer coming right out of the gate, but it's not like it was even 6 months ago, where if we were on the market, then you were going to get 5, 6, 7 offers almost immediately. It's not the case anymore. All right, there's some other tools that we've got to use, some mortgage tools. We need to be prepared to talk about 3-2-1 buy downs. We need to talk about assumptions. Did you know that there is some assuming mortgages is still a thing? It's very rare. There are certain categories, but the one category that really jumps out is VA. Most are still assumable. Well, we live in a big VA community. I've got a deal right now that I'm working there selling at $450,000. He owes about $260,000 on it, right? Well, the buyer is coming out of California and has the capital from the property that he sold. So he's paying the capital down and assuming this $260,000 mortgage that's been paid on for the past 5 or 6 years, and the rate's only 2 point something. He's assuming that instead of getting a brand new one at almost 7. Well, that works when you know how to make that work. All right. And these are just some tools, like I said, that I've got in my toolbox that some people just don't use. They don't use because they don't know about them. They don't know they can. We had a lot of people join our industry in the last 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and they just haven't seen this yet. So the experience actually comes to play. So that makes sense quite a bit. All right, that's it. That's the number. Like I said, I'm trying to make this short this week but I want to make sure I give you the numbers out so that you can make good decisions for you and yours. As you're talking around the Thanksgiving table, make sure you mention something that you're extremely grateful for all the way around. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.
I'm a man on a mission.
My mission is to help people break through all the noise out there and
Don't need no permission.
I want to help you get to actual truth. Don't you just want the truth?